This is my Valheim factory, optimized for speed, convenience, and maximum efficiency in the smelting of ore and related activities. Stick around to see how it works and how to build it. Smelting is one of the most fun and important aspects of Valheim, not to mention crucial for making progress. All that precious ore you worked so hard to mine and transport is useless unless you smelt it and turn it into nice shiny bars. To do this, you need smelters and kilns and coal and wood. It's a whole to-do. Thus, an area specifically designed for smelting is probably a good idea. However, although it might look nice, a lot of the time using it is a mess. The materials required are quite heavy, so you can't carry too many at once, you constantly run out or are carrying too much. The clickable parts of the smelters are annoyingly out of the way, and you just end up running around a lot more than necessary. But don't worry, by the grace of Odin, I have devised a smelting area that streamlines the process, looks pretty neat, and has all sorts of cool features that are sure to warm the heart of even the most vicious Viking. Let me give you a quick tour. The industrial area is basically a long, straight rectangle that contains smelters on one side and charcoal kilns on the other, with a roof designed to allow the smoke to easily exit. To use it, you basically move in a circle, and along the way you fill up everything there is to fill. All the coal holes are aligned facing the same side, and as you fill them up, you get fresh coal behind you from the smelters, which are also aligned and easy to fill thanks to the chests full of wood scattered along the way. The smelters also have chests attached, but these are full of raw metal ore, and although you can open them from both sides, you will mainly be using them from the opposite side when filling the smelters with ore. Even if you're encumbered, you can always make it to the next smelter or to the next chest. This way, the smelting process becomes a lot smoother, and I didn't even mention my favorite part. The final product is conveniently delivered to a secret underground area so that you can comfortably collect it all at the end instead of constantly tripping over it and picking it up by accident. I mean, look at this. If this doesn't tickle your Valheim bone, then you and I are very different. You can enter the tunnel using a secret hole on one end or regular stairs on the other. And if you're smart, you will put these stairs close to your house's forge area for easy transportation. Check out my house video if you haven't, by the way. The smelting area can be made as long or as short as you like. The longer, the more efficient and the faster you get your smelting done. For instance, this one contains 6 smelters and 5 kilns, which means that with enough wood reserves, processing this entire boat full of iron only took me 2 in-game days. And I even had time to farm, feed my pigs, and stare longingly into the sea. After all, I just had to fill them up every now and then, before they run out and stop smelting, or kilning. You can make this construction with both wood and stone, although it's definitely easier with stone, and as you advance through the game, you can replace one or more of the charcoal kilns with a blast furnace, which will drop its black metal bars in the same collection area. Although not all of it, this contraption has a tendency to hold on to the metal at the spout like a weird spoon, but some of it will eventually fall, so that's something. A similar apparatus is the refinery, which also fits beautifully in here, next to the entrance, where it's enclosed by iron walls to prevent damage, and it's partially underground, meaning that you can easily feed the machine in both of its slots, one here and one down here. And as you enter your collection area, you also collect the Eitr. Yep, this factory has it all. Even an empty area where you can put a little relaxation zone perhaps. You might be a hard-working Viking, but you still need your creature comforts. Also, you can dress up the smelters and kilns as much or as little as you like. You can make it so that you can barely see them and all you have is a building that eats ore and poops bars. On the other extreme, if you use stone, you could leave it bare and minimal and not even add a roof at all. Regardless, it will get the job done fast and fun. So, let's see how we build it. First with wood and then with stone, starting with the floor. Obviously, you can't really build this if there's no room to dig underneath. You will need to be at least 3 meters above sea level, which most places are, so unless you're trying to build right on a shore, you should be fine. Next, you will need some flat ground covered in floor tiles, which is convenient because the best way to flatten ground is by building floor tiles and making sure the ground is at the same level as you dig and hoe. You will need a rectangle that is 6 floor tiles wide and 13 tiles long, or 16 tiles long, or 19 or 22, you get it. Next, I will use some beams to draw out some shapes so you can have a better understanding of what goes where. First of all, I do the entire perimeter. This will be necessary later. Then I isolate one row in the front. This will be carpeted and contain the secret entrance. On the other side, I highlight the stair entrance, 1 tile from the edge and 3 tiles long. And then for the rest of it, we will add the dividers every 3 tiles, but only on one side. Each of these 3x3 sections will contain a kiln, except for the one near the stairs. And the other half will contain smelters on every other tile, leaving enough room to move through both in the back and the front. A length of 13 tiles fits 3 kilns and 3 smelters. By adding sections of 3000 length, you can extend your factory with 1 more kiln and 1 or potentially 2 more smelters. Make it as long or as short as you like. I'm doing 16 tiles long in this example, and here's how. First, destroy all the wood tiles in the 3x3 squares where the kilns go, otherwise you can't build them. I know, and after all that work building them, right? Next, build the actual kilns like this. I eyeball the center of the area and slowly move it towards me until it can be built. This way they are as close to the back as possible and are all somewhat aligned. Next, I build the floors under the kiln back up. I know, after all that work we did to destroy it, unfortunately we have to, otherwise the coal will go downstairs in the collection area, although the first row is enough, you can leave the rest without any floors. Next, we will position our smelters. We need to leave some room in the back for us to move through, so the first smelter will go on the next tile, so I destroy that one. Then skip one, destroy, skip one, destroy. These will be our smelters, and to place them I first make sure it's oriented so the coal hole faces the kilns, and then I align these 2 corners as best as I can. If you can't build over the gap, then you have to add some more earth in there, which is just as well because we really want as much land as possible beneath these things. The way we align the corners on the smelter makes it off-center, shifted to the left, which is good because we will be digging up the right side. And speaking of, the most delicate part of the build is the digging, but it's not as hard as you might think if you know your way around the pickaxe. First, remove all floor tiles in a row from your stairs to your rug. This will be our canal, so to speak. Next, get inside the stairs section, align yourself parallel to it, and start digging straight down. After 5 or 6 hits, turn around and build a wood wall right here. This will show you how much deeper you need to dig. Get a few more hits in, and once the whole wood wall is revealed, add another half wall under it and dig some more until you can add a floor tile that connects to the bottom of that. Don't worry if there's still some ground on top of your floor, we will fix that later. For now, we just need to get the tunnel right. Turn around and carefully start digging in that direction, adding more wood floor as you go along the way, letting that floor guide you in how deep you dig. You're trying to make as narrow a tunnel as possible, and to get the best results, you must always be as centered as possible in both mind and hole, as well as oriented straight forward. Do not spin your body to the side at all, even if the music says so. Just stay straight by holding right click at all times and only do very small lateral movements if necessary, but always hit forward. And under no circumstances do you want to use your hoe right now. It might destroy your smelters if you do it wrong, so just use your pickaxe for this bit. Keep going until you reach the end, and once you're there you can destroy the last tile from underneath, creating your secret hole through the carpet, and then an improvised ladder made out of walls so you can pop out of the ground like a superhero whenever you want. By the way, it might seem a bit inconvenient to have a hole right here at the entrance, especially if your dock is behind you and you come in carrying metal. So you can either walk around it, move it to the side like I did here, or if you're holding down shift and running, it's like it's not even there. Only when you slow down do you fall, which sounds like a metaphor for life, but anyway, our tunnel is almost done, and if we destroy the floor tiles in front of the smelters, you can see that they're still standing comfortably even though a good chunk of the earth beneath them has been removed. And we will remove more still in the trickiest part of the build, coming up next. But first, do a kindness for this old Viking and subscribe to the channel. The gods really look kindly upon he who has subscribers, and I wouldn't want to upset Odin again. Anyway, to make our metal delivery system, we snap some half walls on the floor right underneath the gap in front of the smelters. Then we snap a 45-degree roof tile, which will perfectly connect with the floor tile on top. This will be our chute that delivers the metal, but as you can see, there is still a wedge of earth going right through it. To make it perfect, I just get one more sneaky pickaxe hit right to the side of your tunnel where the roof was. This will be enough most of the time to clear a perfect path, but if it's not, then a single careful click of the hoe should get it there. Do this for everyone, and at this point you can check that the bars don't get stuck along the way. If they do, dig some more. Be very careful though, if the smelters are gonna collapse, this is when it's gonna happen, so do not over dig and do not over hoe. If a smelter breaks, you have to start over by adding more earth and then trying again to dig, because while a smelter will survive with only a sliver of land underneath, you cannot build it on just a sliver of land. You need all of the slivers. It is a bit tricky finding the right balance between removing enough earth so that the metal doesn't get stuck along the way, but not enough so that the smelters collapse. However, it can definitely be done. I've built this thing a dozen times preparing for this video, and it almost always worked on my first try. Worst case scenario, it'll take a few attempts, or you can just wait till you can build with stone, and then it will work every single time and be much easier. With stone, the layout is exactly the same. Just use stone floor instead of wood floor. You dig 3 meters deep or 3 stone floors deep if you're gonna cover your tunnel with wood, or 4 stone floors deep if you're going to cover it with stone. The point is, you need to have 3 meters of clearance inside your tunnel so you can fit comfortably and see what's going on. Either way, digging the tunnel will be a lot simpler this time. I mean, you can basically dig right underneath the smelters and they'll be fine. Also, with the wood version, if you accidentally destroy the smelter, it's a bit of a nightmare to build it back, but with the stone, you have no such issue. You can destroy and rebuild however you like, so I would definitely recommend making the stone version as soon as you unlock the technology, although the wood will suffice in the early game. And if you're gonna use stone, you might not even need to dig at all. You could just build it up off the ground, although it will consume more stone and it can look a bit clunky, but if you have a house like this, then you can attach it to your foundation, which is pretty cool. Did I mention my house video, by the way? Also, you don't really need to make the underground tunnel bit. I won't judge too much, but the smelting area will still work quite well if you line them up like I did and add some chests along the way, although I personally love my tunnel. And if we make a tunnel, then we make it nice. So fill in that ugly naked stone with wood walls, also the gaps at the sides of our chutes, and maybe some beam borders to make it nice and tight. Oh, and don't forget stairs, which I probably should have mentioned earlier. Our collection tunnel is now functional, and after a long day of smelting, all the fruits of our labor can be picked up in a single casual stroll through it. And now that the hard part is done, let's have some fun with the roof. To make the roof, I will place long core wood beams on the long edges 6 meters apart, and then 2 more on the short sides only 4 meters apart. Next, we will connect our poles with irregular wood beams on the sides, and to do the same in the interior, we will need to build some more core wood beams, which we can place every 3 tiles on the sides with the kilns. That actually looks good. However, on the other side, if we were to place poles at the exact same intervals, while it doesn't cover up anything important, it does look and feel kind of in the way, so I just don't put any poles near the smelters. It's usually strong enough to hold. The smelters actually help sustain some of the beams. Anyway, now we have our skeleton structure. It's time to add our funky roof. First by placing 45-degree roof tiles along the center from one end to the other. Next, I will place 2 layers of 45-degree tiles on the outer beams on each side, covering up the entire area underneath the roof, but leaving plenty of room for the smoke to escape. Technically, this is enough and will work just fine, but it does look kind of weird, so you can make some decorations. And I had a blast with this part because if you add one of these X's right here, you can do one more here and then one on the other side and then one on top, and it looks pretty cool. You can play around with some more angled beams and create a neat design which you can double up for an even cooler look. You can add some borders on the edge of the roof tiles, and while adding some iron walls in this space looks great, it prevents the smoke from escaping, so just leave it empty or get some equally spaced beams in there. And with that, the roof is done, so it's time to focus on the inside, where the #1 priority is chests. These are essential to our plan, which require 2 main categories of chests. The ones on the coal side contain only coal and wood. The ones on the smelt side contain only raw ore. That, plus the fact that you no longer have to worry about accidentally picking up your metal bars, is what makes the system efficient and easy to use. So, the chests on the coal side can be made like this in between the kilns, or in many other ways depending on how bonkers you go with this project. But the more important are the ones on the smelt side, where we will add some half walls along the sides, which covers up the business end of our smelter, but also provides a platform on which to put a chest at a similar height as the ore cavities next to them, making it nice and comfy to click. As you advance through the game and unlock the blast furnace, you can also install 1 or 2 of them here. Its various slots are arranged differently than a regular smelter, so you will need to place it on the coal side, replacing one of the kilns for it to work with our system. Also, you need to destroy 2 roof tiles for it to fit. But that's okay, you can build the roof back after and the furnace still works. Or just leave this section roofless, I mean, who's gonna know? Anyway, the blast furnace gets placed just like this. I align its corner with the corner of this floor tile, then delete the floor tile in front of it, go underneath in the tunnel and add a roof tile symmetrical with the other side. Most of the black metal will eventually fall through this chute, but like I said, some of it will remain on the spout. I haven't found any solution for that, but it's just a small inconvenience. The Eitr Refinery can also be added right here next to your stairs. Just dig some more on that side, 2 stone floors deep, place the contraption inside, make iron walls all around it and on the top. This will protect from the bolts shooting out of it. Leave just a small hole to access the sap spout, and the other soft tissue slot can be easily accessed from outside if you make some stairs, as it conveniently pokes through the top of the cage. Matter of fact, you could just leave this whole part of the refinery out of the cage. It's Only this section that causes the sparks, that's the only one that needs to be covered. You can collect your refined Eitr by just going down the stairs to your collection area, which is quite poetic. And with that, all the necessary practical matters of our factory are complete. Everything is in place. The only thing left is how far you want to go in decorating this thing. You can have a lot of fun playing with the various designs, covering up the smelters and kilns, making them unrecognizable, or you can just leave them as they are and build only the practical stuff that is strictly necessary for getting the job done. There are a ton of ways to decorate your kilns and smelters, arrange your chests, dress up your roof, or other things to personalize it and make it your own. But I'll let you experiment with that if you want to try it out. However you do it, this factory will be a very welcome sight the next time you come home with a big boat full of metal. Or at least that's what I tell myself to justify all the time I spent building it. If you like this video, please subscribe. I'll have more like it in the future, and sometimes I even go live, so maybe I'll catch you there. Check out my dream house video if you haven't. Not sure if I mentioned that yet. Just kidding, the reaction to the house video was amazing, especially for the first video on the channel. Thank you all for the wonderful comments. It was a blast reading them. Maybe we'll chat more in a live stream in the future. Anyway, that was it for this video. Thanks for watching. Oh, and I forgot to mention that when you dig right up to the edge, you will get an ugly gap, so you're gonna need to cover that up with an additional row of floor tiles, so it's actually larger than I said initially. You need more resources, sorry. But hey, technically I did mention it, so